Okay, so this is going to be an annotation video for Storm on the Island by Seamus Heaney, and as always the best way to use this video is to annotate alongside, to add to your notes and to make sure that you really understand the poem. So as we go through, we've got our steps. We need to read the poem first of all, make sure we understand the content. Then we need to go through and identify those masts techniques. Are there any metaphors, alliteration, any patterns, especially with alliteration, adjectives, similes, those kinds of things. What structure does the poem take? What form does it take? And then finally, what we can link to structure, to context. So if we read through first of all, and then we'll make notes. We are prepared. We build our houses squat, sink walls in rock and roof them with good slate. This wizened earth has never troubled us with hay, so, as you can see, there are no stacks or stooks that can be lost, nor are there trees which might prove company when it blows full blast. You know what I mean, leaves and branches can raise a tragic chorus in a gale, so that you can listen to the thing you fear, forgetting that it pummels your house too. But there are no trees, no natural shelter. You might think that the sea is company, exploding comfortably down on the cliffs, but no. When it begins, the flung spray hits the very windows, spits like tame cat turned savage. We just sit tight while wind dives and strafes invisibly. Space is a salvo. We are bombarded by the empty air. Strange, it's a huge nothing that we fear. So our annotations, first of all, what is happening? Well, here we are prepared. Okay, so this is a joint effort, this isn't an individual. Then we have this kind of discussion of building. So it's about construction, it's about community. And then it moves on and there's a storm coming. We've got this gale. And it's kind of lonely. It says you might think that the sea is company. And then we've got this idea of kind of damage and everything being left alone. So if we go through now, we've got an idea of what it is. They're talking about the construction of a community, and then moves on and we're talking about the storm and how lonely it is and the fear that it creates. That's kind of our summary here. Then let's go through and have a look at our language. Okay, so we've got this personal pronoun, but it's inclusive. So this is an individual that is included as part of a community of some kind. And everything's collective. Now this idea of being squat, okay, this means kind of strong. It means short. So it's almost prepared for battle straight away. The verb sink. They sink walls in rock and roof them with good slate. This adjective, so they're saying how prepared they are. And that is mimicked from the opening phrase at the start of this sentence. We talk about the fact that there are trees that might prove company, and then later we have this idea of the sea being company. Now company can mean a few different things, but actually if we think about a military kind of semantic field, actually company is the name of a section or a group within an armed unit. So we can think about that. So semantic field of military. And if we then look through what we've just read, we can find other examples as well. So we've got this idea of the company. We've got these ideas down lower down about explosions. Okay, we've got the fact that there's spitting and violence, it's turned savage. Okay, we've got the house being pummeled, blast. So actually we've got this semantic field, and then we're finding all of these different examples. If we think about any particular language devices, we have got the simile, like a tame cat turned savage, and this is the idea of domestic, so home, turning against you, being left bereft without it. And it's this violence that has occurred at different places. We've got a pattern emerging. We are prepared, but no. So we can see these structural choices, these caesura, and the impact of these is to create a kind of pause, but also to give us time to think. It's almost making it quite conversational in tone. we've got quite a lot of enjambment, so it's much more fluid and much more natural in the way that the poem flows. It sounds more like a conversation, like somebody's telling you a story and making it personal. If we think about the form, there's no regular rhyme. We have lots of imagery, but there's nothing really, it's blank verse. And for context, the really interesting thing about this poem, Seamus Heaney was an Irish poet, and as a brief history, Ireland has got quite a difficult past, especially in terms of civil war and civil violence, which means that one part of the country is warring with the other. So what we see, these ideas, the fact that we are prepared suddenly becomes so much more important, because which side are they on? Okay, all of them are Irish. Which side? The building, the Parliament building of Ireland is called Stormont. So you've got this kind of play on the title here that shows that it might be talking about political ideas rather than those sort of naturalistic ideas that we might have seen in some of our other romantic poems. We've got this idea that actually we've got a civil war breaking out, and maybe that is why the domestic, this tame cat, is representative of two factions of government, but it's the same government. And we can start to explore Heaney's experiences within Ireland and start to see how he includes them in his poem. There's lots we could say about this poem. I think we're just going to go with the basics today, but if you've got any other questions, then please ask your teachers.